I'm Kareena Kapoor Khan. When it comes to news, NDTV stands for trust, for integrity, for truth, for news that matters. Watch NDTV and don't forget to watch The Buckingham Murders अपने नजदीकी सिनेमा घरों में. कैसे मारा?
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है. तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाए.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है. तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है.
बस एक्टिंग करा लो इनसे.
पैसाबाजार.com, क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक, आदत अच्छी है.
For every news from every part of the country, डाउनलोड कीजिए NDTV ऐप. सिर्फ एक ऐप जो आपको बताता है क्या हो रहा है इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ बिजनेस, पॉलिटिक्स, स्पोर्ट्स एंड एंटरटेनमेंट. देखना ना भूले हमारी मूवी युद्रा इन द थिएटर. रीड ऑल अबाउट युद्रा ऑन द NDTV ऐप. सो डाउनलोड नाउ.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है. आज ही जाइए पैसाबाजार.com पर और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत किसी को भी कभी भी पड़ सकती है.
चल एक्टिंग थोड़ा भेल बनो.
पैसाबाजार.com.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter.
And impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
To the seat of power, Delhi.
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV. 8 a.m. every day.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
NDTV's युवा कॉन्क्लेव is back.
शुरू करते हैं NDTV का यूथ कॉन्क्लेव. NDTV युवा.
भारत एक युवा देश है. अगर हम युवा एक हो जाएं, एकजुट हो जाएं, तो दुनिया की कोई ताकत हमें आगे बढ़ने से नहीं रोक सकती.
With India's biggest disruptors.
So when you tried to understand and have conversation with your parents कि मेरा नाम बांसुरी क्या रखा, उन्होंने क्या बताया?
So माँ ने तो बहुत ही स्वीट एक्सप्लेनेशन दी. She said कि कृष्ण की सबसे प्रिय वस्तु पे तुम्हारा नाम रखा गया है.
प्रेजेंट में रहो, अपना कर्म पूरी निष्ठा से करो, फल की चिंता मत करो.
दूसरी थ्रो लगने के बाद जब कोच साहब ने बताया
to another episode on India Health Mission, a campaign that aims to have critical conversations around health and healthcare in India and how we make it more accessible and affordable. As we all celebrate Poshan Ma this month, it is perhaps appropriate to start these conversations by talking about nutrition, which is the starting point for our health development. Today, we talk about how important it is to be well nourished and how nutrition protects us and helps us manage and prevent diseases. Good nutrition is the foundation for a strong immune system, proper growth and overall well-being. A well-balanced diet rich in essential nutrients like vitamins, minerals, proteins and healthy fats is crucial for preventing malnutrition, enhancing immunity and reducing the risk of chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart condition and obesity. So for this very important conversation, joining us today, we have with us, let me introduce, we have Dr. Sarath Gopalan, President, Nutrition Society of India, Consultant Pediatric Gastroenterologist, Madhukar, Rainbow Children's Hospital, New Delhi. Also joining us, Dr. Nikhil Tandon, Professor and Head of Department Endocrinology and Metabolism, AIIMS. Dr. Sameer Gupta, Senior Interventional Cardiologist, Director, Metro Group of Hospitals, and Dr. Manjul Joshipura, Senior Vice President, Innovations and New Product, Cadila Pharmaceuticals. Thank you all so much for joining, I think, in this very crucial and critical conversation. To begin with, Dr. Gopalan, I would like to ask you the first question here. The state of malnutrition in our country is one of the most significant threats to human health, something, we've been grappling with since independence. Where are India's nutritional challenges when it comes to pregnancy and infancy, and what is India's malnutrition crisis at this point?
Thank you, Amika. So, being a pediatrician and a pediatric gastroenterologist, let me start right at the beginning, where the life begins. If you start from infancy, the first and foremost thing is ensuring exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months of age. These are the national guidelines, and despite persistent efforts, things could definitely improve when it comes to exclusive breastfeeding, but a lot has been achieved over the years. Having said this, that being the first objective, while the emphasis is on exclusive breastfeeding, it is equally important to ensure that at 6 months of age, the young infant is exposed to other foods, which are referred to as complementary foods, the weaning foods to start with, other food items other than breast milk. One of the main highlights of the dietary guidelines for complementary feeding, which have been very recently rolled out, are the emphasis on cutting down on high-fat, salt and sugar-containing foods. And in this regard, use of home-based foods which are adapted to decrease the amount of salt and sugar which are added, keeping in mind the guidelines, would go a long way in ensuring optimum health when it comes to the complementary feeding practice. The third aspect when it comes to infants and young children is, when should we introduce animal milk in the diet? Now, from the standpoint of encouraging and promoting breastfeeding, the most practical suggestion which the pediatricians of the young infant and young child feeding chapter have put forward is that if you delay introduction of animal milk directly till 1 year of age, but animal milk containing complementary foods like ghee, cheese and other food items can be introduced even after 6 months. But the direct introduction of animal milk, it is better if it's done after 1 year of age.
Sure.
And breastfeeding should be continued beyond 2 years of age. Coming to the pregnant woman. Now, there is a program we have already had in place, the anemia program, but we have to look at 4 different aspects here. One is the strategy itself, which has been implemented for several years, the implementation, whether there are any gaps, supervision of that implementation, and recently there's been a lot of interest generated in, can there be any ways by which we can improve absorption of nutrients from the gut, any scientific advances in this direction. And there's the concept of a life cycle approach from womb to tomb, starting right from when the infant is born, right through to the elderly stage.
I think, Dr. Gopalan, thank you for explaining that. So we understand, from breastfeeding and what you've explained about the womb to tomb, the first 1,000 days are extremely critical. Moving ahead, Dr. Tandon, in fact, we do know like India also faces this dual burden where, one hand, malnutrition is a huge challenge, and on the other, there's a heavy incidence of overnutrition and obesity. But often people suffering from obesity also have nutritional deficiencies. Could you explain that to us? How can proper nutrition effectively address this as well?
So actually malnutrition really covers the entire spectrum of both over and undernutrition. Now, when you're obese, you may actually end up with additional problems where, certain vitamins which can get stored in the fat may get primarily located out there and therefore not enough available in the circulating fluid. Obviously, the presence of a range of fats which are not desirable. You need fats. I think that we should disabuse people of the notion that you don't need fats.
Yes.
But you need fats of a certain amount of a certain type. Once you either take the wrong sorts of fat or an excessive amount of fat, it contributes significantly to, formation of plaque in the coronary arteries, formation and affecting by deposition of fat in different body organs, also impeding your ability to metabolize and therefore contribute to elevation in sugars, elevated circulating blood lipids, and all of these then eventually contribute to a negative overall cardiometabolic risk.
No, I think, thank you. I think what you said about habits and being mindful is extremely critical here, and right fats, I think that's another very important thing because sometimes we go on to extremes. Dr. Gupta, talking of obesity and diabetes, the rising burden of NCDs in our country has become a public health crisis. How many of the NCDs are linked to poor nourishment? What dietary changes would you recommend to reduce the risk of cardiovascular conditions in the Indian population?
So, Ambika, I think, first of all, let me congratulate you when you are talking about such an important thing, which is portion, right? Nutrition. It is the essence of all of us, right? Food, the food that we eat. So, obesity is becoming a major problem. And I, as a cardiologist, see diseases and heart attacks and other problems related to obesity every single day. India is becoming the heart disease capital of the world. It is getting the diabetes capital of the world, and they're all linked to nutrition. Most of the lifestyle illnesses, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, some malignancies, they're all linked to food and nutrition. The high salt intake that we have. Indians do love our salts, whether it's in papad, whether it is in achar, whether it is in all the chutneys we eat. They are all very high salt containing things. They increase the risk of hypertension. We love our sugars. You go anywhere, the festival season is coming up, everybody's going to be having mithai, they're going to be halwa, and there are going to be all these nice desserts. It increases the risk of diabetes. Yes. And it is not just these sugars, Ambika. It is not just these sugars, it is the hidden sugars. So there is a direct correlation with the food we eat, with the lifestyle diseases that we then inculcate. And they in turn translate into heart attacks and make us, the heart disease capital of the world.
So I think a very important point, the food we eat is directly related to NCDs, and that's why, we see the number of cases increasing so much. And next time when somebody asks us, meethe mein kya hai, we all need to be mindful and not just think of the sweet, but also the hidden fats which you've spoken about. Moving ahead, Dr. Joshipura, we understand that nutrition is of critical importance to our overall health and performance, but how do we get that nourishment in an evolving idea? Nutrition science is working to meet constantly changing global health needs. How do pharmaceutical companies like Cadila respond to that changing need?
I think if you look at the overall landscape, especially national landscape where you have titled this session on India Health Mission, so you already touched upon the two burdens that are overlapping. The other element of the nutrition is basically deficiency of vitamins, minerals, and trace elements. That is also getting emerging as one of the important area in overall nutritional landscape to address. As our country is progressing, we are seeing demands and requirements for such nutritional supplements as well by the medical experts and the patients as well. So I want to talk about the minerals that are important in nutrition as such, and iron is a well-known example. I think everybody knows that India suffered from iron deficiency, anemia for a long time, and even today, in pregnant women, in children, and in adolescents also, anemia is a critical problem. So clearly, iron deficiency is one of the things that can be tackled. The other elements, of course, is iodine, which is being tackled with fortification of several foods. Salt is a classic example. Iodized salt is an example. And then iron, we talked about. Calcium is an important mineral that is being supplemented, and there is a requirement for calcium supplement. And of course, magnesium and zinc are important minerals. So these are the minerals. And then vitamin deficiency is also known, and as we know, vitamin A is required for vision, immune function, skin health, vitamin C for immune system, skin health, and so on. Vitamin D, we know, bone health, and so on. Vitamin E, K, and multitude of vitamin B complexes, right?
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Moving on, Dr. Gupta, we're talking about nutrition science. Dr. Joshipura was talking about it, responding to the changing health needs. Now, our bodies are under more stress from the environment than ever before. How is nutrition helping our bodies cope? The heart and the immune system, for example, are very closely linked. And again, heart attacks are going up, cardiac arrest. We hear a lot more. How is this really linked to immunity and obviously nutrition?
So I think nutrition plays a pivotal role in almost 80 to 90% of the illnesses that we have, I would say, non-communicable diseases. So, if you look at the Indian plate, the food that we eat, majority of the food in India is very high in carbohydrates. We are a very carb-heavy country. We don't have much in terms of the fiber and the green leafy vegetables. People think of potatoes as a vegetable. But potato is more of starch, it's more of carbohydrates, it's not giving you the green leafy, the fiber that you need. And that's a very staple food, not only in India, it's across the world in fact. So, the type of food you eat, the quality of the food you eat plays a very, very important and pivotal role. And there's also data to show that if you are having a good, nutritious meal, you may not need supplements. Your micronutrient deficiency is going to be taken care of. A lot of your overall health is going to be taken care of. So the quality of the food is equally important for just good general health.
Yeah, so it's not just about eating. I think it's about what you're eating. I think that's the very important point. Dr. Tandon, while Dr. Gupta did tell us a little bit about the food aspect, I want to ask you specifically for our viewers, what is a healthy diet and what do you mean by a balanced diet? Just adding to what Dr. Gupta said.
So I look at diet, very simplistically as sort of four components, right? Quantity, quality, timing, or the individual portion size, and the spacing, right? So obviously if you eat too much, it's not good for you. Same as if you eat too little, it's not good for you. So quantity is what your caloric requirement is based on your height, based on your current weight, based on what your physical activity levels are. The second part is the quality, and I think Dr. Gupta highlighted that. We are traditionally a very carb-rich nation, which is unfortunate. I mean, there's many of the diets go up to 65-70% of carbs, whereas you possibly need to get by with nearer 55 or something in that sort of range, realizing that you still have 45% to make up with, and you have a judicious combination of protein and fats for that. It has to be there, but it has to be a judicious balance. The third thing is how do you space your meals out, right? And how do you sort of divide? 2 large meals in a day perhaps is not a great idea because you're actually dumping a lot of calories into your system at one point in time. And therefore dividing them allows much less of what we call glycemic swings or sugars going up and down. And then of course the spacing. You can say, well, I eat 5 meals a day, but I cluster them all together between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Again, not a good idea because you're actually getting everything very close to each other. Spacing them out reasonably. So I think these are practical suggestions which would be of utility for a common person.
Practical and absolutely, I think, very, very doable. Sometimes, very often we tell our children, oh, how many rotis did you eat? We're not focusing on how much dal or the vegetable they've had, but we're looking at, okay, you've had 3 rotis or 4 rotis, you're good. So I think it's not just practical, very informative. Thank you for that. Moving on, Dr. Gopalan, what is the nutrition gap? How does it affect and how do we deal with, or how can we deal with it?
You see, the most important thing is we've had our leading bodies in the country which have come up with nutritive value of foods. And now, most recently, an important step forward has been the practical dietary guidelines are now available and they are being rolled out. And these guidelines address various age groups, and they are also looking at showing practical pictorial depictions of recipes for different age groups. But what we need to consider as practicing clinicians also is how effectively we can roll out these guidelines to the community and what are the practical challenges we are likely to face depending on the age group we are addressing. So we must distinguish that these guidelines are for the healthy population. When it comes to a particular individual where there's a major nutrition gap, be it a child or an adult, then our clinical judgment takes precedence and we need to tailor the nutritional approach for that particular individual.
Sure.
This is something we need to do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Really well explained. Thank you all for that. More on the nutrition gap and how we can address it when we come back. So do stay tuned with us on NDTV.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक करें फ्री में पैसाबाजार.com पर। लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है।
ठीक से एक्टिंग नहीं।
पैसाबाजार.com।
For every news from every part of the country, download कीजिए NDTV ऐप। सिर्फ एक ऐप जो आपको बताता है क्या हो रहा है in the world of business, politics, sports and entertainment. देखना ना भूलें हमारी मूवी युद्रा in the theatre. Read all about Yutra on the NDTV app. So download now.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है।
बस एक्टिंग करा लो इनसे।
पैसाबाजार.com, क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक, आदत अच्छी है।
Hi, I'm Kareena Kapoor Khan. When it comes to news, NDTV stands for trust, for integrity, for truth, for news that matters. Watch NDTV and don't forget to watch The Buckingham Murders अपने नजदीकी सिनेमाघरों में। कैसे मारा?
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। आज ही जाइए पैसाबाजार.com पर और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत किसी को भी कभी भी पड़ सकती है।
चल एक्टिंग थोड़ा भेल बनो।
ए आयो भाग जोर। पैसाबाजार.com।
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
NDTV's युवा कॉन्क्लेव is back.
शुरू करते हैं NDTV का यूथ कॉन्क्लेव, NDTV युवा।
भारत एक युवा देश है। अगर हम युवा एक हो जाएं, एकजुट हो जाएं, तो दुनिया की कोई ताकत हमें आगे बढ़ने से नहीं रोक सकती।
With India's biggest
Welcome back. You're watching India Health Mission, and today we're talking about the critical role nutrition plays for our health. Talking about solutions now, let's move ahead. Dr. Gopalan, how do you assess the impact of Poshan Abhiyan on improving nutritional outcomes in India, and what key areas should be focused on during Poshan Maah, especially since we are in it, to further strengthen its effectiveness?
We have to adopt the practical approach. As the dietary guidelines have now been formulated and are being rolled out, which I mentioned, how do you practically convey the important nutritional scientific messages when it applies to the community? It is important that they understand quantities, types of food and portions rather than how much of a particular nutrient needs to be consumed. It is a team approach which is important for an effective rollout of the guidelines which have recently been formulated, and the Poshan Abhiyan. This is one of the important components of the Poshan Abhiyan, where we address the practical issues which are the important points to consider when it comes to delivery of nutrition at the community level.
Absolutely. So I think it's about working critical. It's important to work together. All stakeholders need to work together. Dr. Tandon, since we are talking about Poshan Abhiyan, what are your suggestions? How can we make high quality nutrients affordable and accessible to all through India's public health system?
I don't think we should medicalize nutrition, right? I think that's the first thing. Saying make it through the public health system implies that we are medicalizing an issue, which is clearly a social issue. So I would look at it from a much broader perspective than to restrict it as a public health system. In fact, I would even stick my neck out so far as to go that giving only cereals at a low cost may actually be counterproductive, because again, the cereals are providing primarily a carbohydrate-rich source.
Yeah.
So I think the whole concept of what should be provided through at lower rates through a public distribution system should not just be restricted to a cereal-based diet. It should be looking at a wide range of food items which provide a broad nutrient delivery to the population at large, and that's the way I look at it.
Okay, great point taken. Dr. Joshipura, what is the role, since we're talking about solutions that pharmaceutical manufacturers like Cadila can play in making nutrients accessible to a wider population and in bridging the nutritional gaps in the Indian population?
Right. So as we heard, no external supplement can be better than the balanced diet, balanced nutrition diet, right? Having said that, it remains a wishful thinking that everyone would take a balanced diet and everyone would benefit from the guidelines and so on and so forth. So therefore, for example, in a tropical country like India, which is full of 300 days of sunlight a year in most part of the country, why should anybody be vitamin D deficient, right? But the fact of the matter is that vitamin D deficiency is very common, and there's a new emerging science coming out after vitamin D. For example, vitamin D earlier was known only for bone health. Yeah. Now there is a strong scientific evidence to suggest that, for example, cardiovascular health can be better, blood pressure regulation can be better, endothelial health can be better, outcomes of patients with cardiovascular conditions would be better if they have vitamin D restored to normal level. There is an evidence in diabetes management that diabetic patient will have a better beta cell function, they will have a better insulin support if their vitamin D levels are restored. Similarly, mental health, respiratory health, pregnancy and lactation. So there are new indications and new scientific evidences emerges where the role of elements and vitamin D supplements, in this case, would require an external support. So therefore, the industry would need to come out and be ready with this newer to meet the newer requirements and newer evidences, and therefore making it accessible and affordable.
Absolutely. I think that's why everybody needs to work together like we were talking. Dr. Gupta, the last question here is nutrition education. Now, how can doctors across specialities come together to create greater awareness around the role that nutrition plays in keeping India healthy, like we've been discussing today?
So I think this is a very important question as to how do we become a healthy nation. I know we're all talking about a $5 trillion economy and an $8 trillion economy, but a healthy nation is of paramount importance for it to be a wealthy nation. So, and when you talk about health, clean water and good food are the backbone of a healthy nation. So I think the impetus for improvement has to come not just from doctors, not just from the medical community, but from society in general, like was mentioned by one of the other speakers as well. Education becomes of paramount importance. It has to start at the school level, where the cafeteria in the school, the type of food that they are serving. Are they giving more nutritious? Are they giving more chips and more sodas and more fruit canned juices, or are they giving other kind of more healthy options?
Yeah, absolutely important. On that note, thank you so much, doctors, for joining us today in this very critical conversation. So by raising awareness and promoting healthier and mindful eating habits, we can build a healthier nation. For India to achieve sustainable growth and development, ensuring access to nutritious food across all socio-economic strata is vital, as it leads to a healthier, more resilient workforce and reduces the healthcare burden. Do stay tuned for more on India Health Mission as we bring to you these critical conversations through the series. Thank you so much for watching.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक करें फ्री में पैसाबाजार.com पर। लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है।
ठीक से एक्टिंग नहीं।
पैसाबाजार.com।
For every news from every part of the country, download कीजिए NDTV ऐप। सिर्फ एक ऐप जो आपको बताता है क्या हो रहा है in the world of business, politics, sports and entertainment. देखना ना भूलें हमारी मूवी युद्रा in the theatre. Read all about Yudra on the NDTV app. So download now.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है।
बस एक्टिंग करा लो इनसे।
पैसाबाजार.com, क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक, आदत अच्छी है।
Hi, I'm Kareena Kapoor Khan. When it comes to news, NDTV stands for trust, for integrity, for truth, for news that matters. Watch NDTV and don't forget to watch The Buckingham Murders अपने नजदीकी सिनेमा घरों में। कैसे मारा?
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। आज ही जाइए पैसाबाजार.com पर और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत किसी को भी कभी भी पड़ सकती है।
चल एक्टिंग थोड़ा भेल बनो।
पैसाबाजार.com।
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
NDTV's युवा कॉन्क्लेव is back.
शुरू करते हैं NDTV का यूथ कॉन्क्लेव, NDTV युवा।
भारत एक युवा देश है।
Good evening and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Vedant Agarwal. The big breaking story right now. Well, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has been named in an FIR after the Karnataka Special Court ordered the filing of FIR in the electoral bonds case. What are the implications of this? This as a Karnataka BJP versus Congress face-off only escalates. Let's take a look at the headlines first. We're tracking at this hour. FIR against Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the electoral bonds case. The BJP brass, including Karnataka BJP chief B.Y. Vijender, accused of extorting money. Israel strikes kill Hezbollah chief. Hezbollah's top leadership has been eliminated, claims Israel. This as Hezbollah now confirms the killing of its chief. The big poll battle for Haryana. Congress promises MSP and caste census in its manifesto for the state. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister campaigns in Haryana's Hisar. He says both father and son vying for the Chief Minister's seat as he takes a jibe at the Hudas. Amid the political row, the high-level probe team, the SIT team at the Tirupati temple. In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 army jawans have been injured in a gun battle in the Kulgam district. Meanwhile, 2 terrorists have been gunned down as well. 3 incidents of firing have been reported in the national capital in just 24 hours. A law and order challenge in the limelight once again. This as CCTV footage in all 3 incidents shows shocking details. All right, breaking news coming in. The Finance Minister has been named in an FIR in the electoral bonds case. This after a special court in Karnataka allowed the filing of FIR in the poll bonds case. Remember, multiple sections have been invoked. In fact, not just the Finance Minister, but also the BJP Karnataka chief, B.Y. Vijender, has been named in the FIR as well. And they've been accused of extorting money via the electoral bonds. Remember, this was a huge political flashpoint as well when the electoral bonds data was released on the directions of the Supreme Court. In fact, the BJP was also accused of quid pro quo, and there were multiple complaints in this as well. But a huge development there that the Finance Minister has been named in the FIR as well. And this amid the Muda heat on Chief Minister Siddaramaiah as well. While the BJP pushes for Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's resignation, the Chief Minister himself in a press conference had said that the Finance Minister, the Union Finance Minister, should resign amid the electoral bonds FIR. My colleague Pratibha Raman has more details on this.
Well, it's definitely been raining FIRs in Karnataka as far as the politics here goes. There's a day when the FIR was registered against Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, based on the Muda allegations. And a day after that, you have an FIR that has been registered against Nirmala Sitharaman as well as others there in the electoral bond case. This is based on a private complaint that was filed at the Special Court of Public Representatives. And just yesterday, the court had given a direction to the Tilak Nagar police station of Bengaluru to register an FIR based on this very complaint. Now, some of the interesting details that emerged from the FIR is the fact that it not only names Nirmala Sitharaman as one of the accused persons, but also several others, which also includes ED as well as Karnataka BJP chief B.Y. Vijendra. This comes amidst calls for resignation by the BJP, who have been going hammer and tongs with aggressive protests, calling for Siddaramaiah's resignation based on the Muda allegations. Just yesterday, Siddaramaiah had hit out at both Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman as well as H.D. Kumarasamy, talking about FIRs that have been registered against them or to be registered against them. Would there be any kind of resignation from these central leaders? years. Now, this has become a political flashpoint between the BJP as well as the Congress in terms of FIRs registered as well as calls for resignation there. We'll have to wait to see what will be the reactions that we would pick up from the BJP camp based on this FIR, because the IPC sections involved in the FIR also suggests 120B, which is criminal conspiracy, as well as 384, which suggests extortion there. We'll have to, these are some of the serious IPC sections that have been invoked as far as the FIR goes. We'll have to wait to see how the Congress would now play on this in terms of filing their defense strategy and also the legal recourse that they would take in terms of both BJP as well as the Congress to fight this FIR now.
And while the larger political context in Karnataka is also important as far as the story is concerned, given the fact that the BJP has only been upping the ante, demanding the Chief Minister's resignation over the alleged land scam, which is a Muda scam essentially. And this, as the Chief Minister himself has said, that the Union Finance Minister should first step down after the court directed the filing of FIR. Listen to what the Chief Minister had to say.
ಈ ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮನ್ ಮೇಲೂ FIR ಹಾಕೋರು. ಈಗ ಲೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಜನಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯ ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮನ್ ಯಾರವರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೂ FIR ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಾಂಡ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಸುಲಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೂ FIR ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಇವತ್ತು FIR ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅವರು ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ವ ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆನ.
And joining me on the show this evening, Prashant GS, spokesperson of the BJP from Karnataka, also Nagaraju Yadav of the Congress is with us. Going across to you first, Mr. Prashant, these are serious allegations against the finance minister of extorting money and criminal conspiracy as well. Do you think it's time now that the BJP, the top leadership of the party, comes clean as far as the entire electoral bond scheme is concerned, the now scrapped scheme, though of course they've all vociferously defended this scheme as one that furthered transparency, but these are serious allegations, aren't they?
See, now you look at it from the prism of electoral bonds and look at what the Supreme Court has said. Once you've collected the money, though when you collected it, it was under the sovereign guarantee that names will not be disclosed. We are abiding now by the Supreme Court orders, wherein Supreme Court directed the state list of donors, which means out of the list of donors, Congress has issued money, TMC has issued money, the BRS or TRS, which is known as, that party has issued money, BJP also received money. So therefore, this particular FIR which has been lodged and the complaint has been lodged, it's only as a political gimmick to trying to shield Siddaramaiah, because if Congress party has received donations in form of electoral bonds, which means Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, Sonia Gandhi and their family also responsible for getting money through the same route. So, we have to be very clear on electoral bonds issue. Supreme Court only has directed the State Bank of India to bring out which are the people who have given the donations. And secondly, if there is any criminal conspiracy or anything you found out, the people who have made the donations, they would obviously come over and file a complaint saying that, look, we were not wanting to give this donation, but we were forced to because Supreme Court has now made the names public. Because those things have
So
not
that's
happened,
an important
Congress
point you're making. Let me get Nagaraju Yadav of the Congress to respond to this. Mr. Nagaraju, what the BJP spokesperson is saying is that it's not just the BJP, but opposition parties as well who are among the top beneficiaries of the electoral bonds, whether it's the DMK, the Congress, of course, even the TMC for that matter. How do you respond to that?
It is not that which party is there involved with it or not. The issue comes here very, very clearly. There is a complaint registered against a particular people like Nirmala Sitharaman and BJP President Vijayendra and others. Now the issue has come that why this case is filed against Nirmala Sitharaman is a question to be spoken. An FIR is filed against her from 2019 to 2022. She has collected 279 crore rupees been collected from Anil Agarwal and Arvind Bindu company as such. Where the Congress matter comes in between. Here 6,500 crores have been collected by the BJP as election bonds, which are set as the Supreme Court has set aside, saying that it is unconstitutional. Now, with this, as a citizen, somebody from Janadhikara Sangarsh Samiti President Adarsh Iyer must have gone to the court and asked for a case to be registered. Special court has given a permission to
be that as it may, Mr. Nagaraju, be that as it may. But the point here is that if all parties have been beneficiaries of the electoral bonds, the BJP says that this is only to shift attention from the Muda case.
Siddaramaiah. There is no question of shielding Siddaramaiah as such. If they have moral rights to demanding Siddaramaiah's resignation, let Vijayendra resign from his MLA-ship and party presidentship, and Nirmala Sitharam resign from her finance portfolio as such. Because the yardstick has to be same. That is what we are trying to talk. Nobody is going to score a goal here by using political cases or non-political cases or cases filed against anybody as for their own needs. Actually speaking,
that's a fair point.
Also is answerable to this because it is connected to the finances of the country. 6,500 crores have been collected in name of election bond, and they wanted to keep the secret of the persons who paid the money. Why it should be secret if they white money? There must be something.
So that's a fair point. I think you're making that it has to be the same yardstick. If the BJP is demanding the resignation of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah on moral grounds, they perhaps should be ready to at least face this sort of heat as far as the Congress's demand of the Union Minister resigning is concerned. Nevertheless, it remains to be seen how this pans out. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for being with us this evening. Moving now to the other big headline. Well, back-to-back incidents of firing being reported in the national capital. In fact, 3 incidents of firing in the heart of the national capital, in many cases broad daylight, being reported in Delhi in just 24 hours. Firing outside a hotel, outside a luxury car showroom, and outside a sweet shop. Fortunately, no injuries or casualties were reported in these cases. Take a look.
Back-to-back incidents of firing rock the national capital. The first incident reported in Narayana, West Delhi, where there were gunshots fired at a showroom. NDTV accessed CCTV footage of the incident from inside as well as outside the showroom. The CCTV showed the gangsters firing. Around 20 bullets were fired. Second incident was reported from Delhi's Mahipalpur area, where a man fired outside a hotel. The third incident was reported from Nangloi, where 2 bike-borne men fired outside a ration shop.
The gunshots that were fired at this hotel last night, a bike-borne assailant opened fired outside Hotel Impress in Mahipalpur in Delhi. No injuries are reported so far in all the 3 of these incidents. The police sources suggest that the firing was related to extortion, demands and an attempt to take control of the hotel. The hotel owner had received a threat call from a person claiming to be Goldie Brar a year ago.
While thankfully no one was injured in any of the incidents, what's worrying is that the police claims all 3 firings are linked to extortion bids. There is also a Goldie Brar link to the firing outside the Mahipalpur hotel. These incidents come close on the heels of the firing incident at a South Delhi gym where a businessman was killed. All 3 incidents are part of a larger trend of gang-related threats and firings in Delhi. While the police are working to apprehend those responsible and curb gang-related violence, a big question is being raised about the law and order situation in the national capital.
While all the 3 incidents seem to be a larger part of gang-related violence in Delhi NCR, a big question is being raised at the law enforcement in Delhi because we saw a series of firing incidents that took place within a span of 24 hours. The sense of security amongst the locals have been shaken deeply while the police is trying to apprehend the people who are responsible behind it. The gang war continues in the heart of Delhi NCR. With camera person Jay Narayan, this is Anushka Garg for NDTV.
So open gang war in the national capital, questions on the law and order situation. But moving now to the other big international headline, well, the Hezbollah chief has been killed and Israel claims that the entire top rung of leadership as far as Hezbollah is concerned has been eliminated. Is this the end of Hezbollah? That's a big question. Certainly a significant development, and West Asia has been pushed to the precipice once again. Take a look at this report.
As Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rose to address the United Nations General Assembly, the IDF had its target locked in Beirut. Hezbollah General Secretary and the most prominent face in Lebanon, Hassan Nasrallah, Israel military confirmed on Saturday that Hassan Nasrallah was killed alongside Hezbollah commanders in Friday's airstrike on Beirut.
זה לא סוף ארגז הכלים. זה צריך להיות מאוד ברור. יש עוד כלים קדימה ללכת, והמסר הוא מסר פשוט. מי שמאיים על אזרחי מדינת ישראל נדע להגיע בצפון, בדרום, גם במקומות יותר רחוקים.
Killing Nasrallah has marked a massive Israeli escalation. Israel's offensive against Hezbollah began on 8th of October last year, a day after Hamas's attack on South Israel. There was a tacit understanding then that Israel would not assassinate the group's senior-most leaders. However, this understanding has not been honored in recent months, with Israel killing several senior members of Hezbollah.
It will continue for some time. Israel is actually, Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, is trying to drag United States into a regional war. He wanted to bring Hezbollah, Lebanon, and Iran on the same platform, because that's the only way to bring United States into the war, into regional war. Because at the end of the day, the objective for Israel is to destroy Iran and to destroy Hezbollah.
Thousands of residents in Beirut's densely populated southern suburbs slept in parks, on streets, or in cars overnight as they fled southern Lebanon to try and avoid Israeli attacks. Taking precautionary steps, Iran, which is reputed to back Hezbollah, has reportedly shifted their supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei to a safe zone.
The killing of Hassan Nasrallah in a precise attack by Israel shows that Israel is not willing to accept any kind of temporary pause or a ceasefire in that particular region. But what is more significant is to see whether Iran, which has been backing these proxy militias, will now step up to the occasion and support these groups to retaliate against Israel, which can see a potential and a wider Middle East conflict. In Delhi, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
And moving now to the political battle in Jammu and Kashmir, where we are counting down to the final phase of polling in the Union Territory. And it's the BJP and the Congress really sort of looking at a carpet bomb campaign in the Union Territory, the Prime Minister campaign in Jammu. In fact, he hit out at the National Conference, the PDP and the Congress, saying that it's these three families that have really ruined Jammu and Kashmir. Of course, reiterating his charge that these people have, in a sense, fostered terrorism. Meanwhile, Congress's Priyanka Gandhi also campaigned in Jammu and Kashmir, and she said that Jammu and Kashmir is nothing but a political pawn for the BJP. Take a look.
ये जो हमारी पीढ़ियां बर्बाद हुई है, इसकी सबसे बड़ी जिम्मेदार कांग्रेस पार्टी है। आजादी के बाद से ही कांग्रेस की गलत नीतियों ने आपको सिर्फ और सिर्फ तबाही दी है। आपको कांग्रेस का रवैया कभी भी भूलना नहीं है। कांग्रेस वो पार्टी है जिसने हमारी फौज से सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक के सबूत मांगे थे।
जो उनकी समस्याएं हैं, उनकी बात क्यों नहीं हो रही है? सच्चाई पर क्यों नहीं उतर रहे हैं हमारे प्रधानमंत्री? कि जब उन्होंने आपसे राज्य का दर्जा छीना तो क्या क्या छिन गया आपसे। एक एलजी हैं जो पूरा अपने हिसाब से अपनी मनमानी से राज कर रहे हैं।
And let me go straight across to our senior colleague Nazir Masoodi joining us live from Srinagar. So, Nazir said the most crucial phase perhaps is now behind us, but break it down for us. What are some of the most keenly contested constituencies going to polls in the third and the final phase?
Well, in the third and the final phase, 40 assembly seats will go to polls. 50 seats, election for the 50 seats has already happened, polling. Now, these 40 seats, most of them come from Jammu region. 23 seats, 17 from the North Kashmir. So that's why you see all the focus now on Jammu region, be it the top leadership of Congress or the BJP, from Home Minister, Defense Minister, BJP chief, and the Prime Minister himself today addressing rally, launching scathing attacks on the Congress, National Conference, and PDP, saying they are enemies of the Constitution of India, blaming dynasties, three dynasties, for ruining Jammu and Kashmir, and actually saying Jammu ki pukar hai, ye BJP ki sarkar aani hai. So actually BJP is trying to, raise the pitch for Jammu. This time it would be a chief minister from Jammu, it would be the chief minister BJP government, and Prime Minister himself said now it will be the BJP will form the government on its own strength. So last time BJP had won 25 seats. Will they match the number this time also? On the other hand, Congress has woken up a bit late because we didn't see senior leaders actually campaigning in Jammu. Rahul Gandhi was not in the mainland Jammu. He just came yesterday, just 2 rallies held. There are 2 and 3 rallies held in Jammu, these areas which have been the actually stronghold of the BJP. Now today, Priyanka Gandhi also addressing 2 rallies, and also other top leaders, including Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress president, and other senior leaders, have been now campaigning in Jammu because now only 1 day is left for the campaigning. And here in the valley, we saw Umar Abdullah aggressively campaigning in North Kashmir. And yesterday he was in Jammu campaigning for his party candidate.
Absolutely.
And Mehbooba Mufti also campaigning. So these are last-ditch efforts by every party, because this election is not just winning election, but also proving their ideological point of view. Whether
Absolutely.
people of Jammu and Kashmir are happy with the Naya Kashmir or they wanted old Kashmir.
Absolutely, and what a campaign it has been, hasn't it, Nazir? So given the fact that we've seen election fervor in areas once struck by terror, so truly a historic election there. Thanks very much for joining us with the latest. Meanwhile, from poll-bound Jammu and Kashmir to Haryana, the Prime Minister campaigning in Hisar on the day when the Congress released its manifesto. The Prime Minister said that both Dipender Hooda and Bhupender Hooda, father and son, are vying for the Chief Minister's seat. This as the Congress has promised MSP and caste census in its manifesto. Listen in.
कांग्रेस के नेता अब कहने लगे हैं कि हरियाणा में भी वही हाल होगा जो कांग्रेस का मध्य प्रदेश में हुआ था, क्योंकि कांग्रेस देश की सबसे धोखेबाज और बेईमान पार्टी है। आज हिमाचल में कर्मचारियों को उनकी सैलरी और डीए देने तक इनके पास बजट नहीं है। आप देख रहे हैं कि कैसे यहां कांग्रेस में मुख्यमंत्री बनने के लिए मारामारी मची है। बापू भी दावेदार है और बेटा भी दावेदार है।
Meanwhile, looking at some other news, nature's fury in the east. This as both Bihar and Sikkim are battered by almost a flood-like situation. In fact, heavy rain have triggered multiple landslides in Sikkim. No casualties have been reported so far yet. Meanwhile, in Bihar, the rising water level of the Kosi River is something that has become a huge cause of concern, with key roads underwater and people having to wade through almost waist-deep water in both the states. And with that, we'll take a short break now, but news continues on the other side.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Download any single ID partner app, link your card and earn reward with top brand.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक करें फ्री में पैसाबाजार.com पर। लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है।
ठीक से एक्टिंग नहीं।
पैसाबाजार.com।
For every news from every part of the country, डाउनलोड कीजिए NDTV ऐप। सिर्फ एक ऐप जो आपको बताता है क्या हो रहा है इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ बिजनेस, पॉलिटिक्स, स्पोर्ट्स एंड एंटरटेनमेंट। देखना ना भूले हमारी मूवी युद्रा इन द थिएटर। रीड ऑल अबाउट युद्रा ऑन द NDTV ऐप। सो डाउनलोड नाउ।
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है।
बस एक्टिंग करा लो इनसे।
पैसाबाजार.com, क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक, आदत अच्छी है।
Hi, I'm Kareena Kapoor Khan. When it comes to news, NDTV stands for trust, for integrity, for truth, for news that matters. Watch NDTV and don't forget to watch The Buckingham Murders अपने नजदीकी सिनेमा घरों में। कैसे मारा?
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। आज ही जाइए पैसाबाजार.com पर और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत किसी को भी कभी भी पड़ सकती है।
चल एक्टिंग थोड़ा भेल बनो।
ए आया भाग पैसाबाजार.com।
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India, one world hygiene.
Election sunrise is on the proverbial paradise. Jammu and Kashmir gets set to vote in assembly elections after a gap of 10 years.
For the BJP, it's a referendum on Article 370. For the Congress and regional parties, it's a battle for survival. An election that will go down in the history. Watch the most comprehensive, the most nuanced, and the most power-packed coverage only on NDTV.
I've been
reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
NDTV's युवा Conclave is back.
शुरू करते हैं NDTV का यूथ कॉन्क्लेव NDTV युवा।
भारत एक युवा देश है। अगर हम युवा एक हो जाएं, एकजुट हो जाएं, तो दुनिया की कोई ताकत हमें आगे बढ़ने से नहीं रोक सकती।
With India's biggest disruptors.
So when you tried to understand and have conversation with your parents कि मेरा नाम बांसुरी क्या रखा, उन्होंने क्या बताया?
So माँ ने तो बहुत ही स्वीट एक्सप्लेनेशन दी। She said कि कृष्ण की सबसे प्रिय वस्तु पे तुम्हारा नाम रखा गया है।
प्रेजेंट में रहो, अपना कर्म पूरी निष्ठा से करो, फल की चिंता मत करो।
दूसरी थ्रो लगने के बाद जब कोच साहब ने बताया कि 4639 है, तो मैं काफ़ी खुश हुआ। और
सरप्राइज भी हुए थे थोड़ा?
सरप्राइज हुआ था मैं तब, इसीलिए
हेलो फ्रेंड्स एंड वेलकम बैक टू गैजेट्स 360 विद टेक्निकल गुरुजी। एक ऐसा गैजेट शो जहां पे हम नए नए गैजेट्स के बारे में बात करते हैं, कुछ नए फैक्ट्स भी डिस्कस कर लेते हैं, मैं आपको टिप्स भी दे देता हूं और आपके सवालों के जवाब भी आपको मिल जाते हैं। बेसिकली अ कंप्लीट पैकेज पैक्ड टाइटली टुगेदर जस्ट लाइक गैजेट्स, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे कंपोनेंट्स को टाइट पैक करके हमें वो परफॉर्मेंस मिलती है। दिस शो गिव्स यू ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन एंड ऑल द एंटरटेनमेंट। इस एपिसोड में भी आपको ऐसी चीजें मिलने वाली हैं, ऑफ कोर्स, बिकॉज गैजेट्स आर एक्साइटिंग, शो शुड बी एक्साइटिंग। लेट्स सी व्हाट वी हैव दिस वीक। हेलो गाइस, मेरा नाम है गौरव एके टेक्निकल गुरुजी। यू आर वाचिंग गैजेट्स 360 विद टेक्निकल गुरुजी। तो जल्दी से आगे बढ़ते हैं, चलिए शुरू करते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, द फर्स्ट थिंग एज अ हाइजीन जो हमको करनी चाहिए और हम करते भी हैं एपिसोड में, इज जस्ट टू लुक अराउंड एंड डू अ क्विक रिकैप, जस्ट टू नो कि क्या हुआ इन द फील्ड ऑफ गैजेट्स। बिकॉज लेट मी टेल यू, हर रोज इतनी सारी नई चीजें होती हैं, इतने नए डेवलपमेंट्स होते हैं। जस्ट टू कीप आवरसेल्व्स अपडेटेड, ये रिकैप बहुत जरूरी है। सो लेट्स लर्न मोर इन दिस सेक्शन, न्यूज ऑफ द वीक।
A new report released by the team behind HP Wolf Security raises a couple of alarms. That generative AI is being used to create phishing lures is not news, पर एक नई थ्रेट इनसाइड रिपोर्ट ने रिवील किया है कि साइबर अटैकर्स अब जेनरेटिव AI का इस्तेमाल मलिशियस कोड लिखने के लिए भी यूज कर रहे हैं। The team identified a campaign that was targeting French speakers and script ka structure, the usage of comments to explain each line of code, native language function name and variables का use काफी strong indicators हैं कि इस कोड को generative AI tools की मदद से लिखा गया है। This activity is also an indicator of the fact that generative AI tools ने entry barriers and bars को काफी low कर दिया है for cyber attackers to attack endpoints. At the AWS Empower India event, it was announced that India's National Health Authority, Government e-Marketplace and the Public Sector Bank Alliance will soon be adopting AWS technology to drive India's digital transformation journey. NHA यूज करेगा इन प्रोडक्ट्स एंड सर्विसेज को एक ओपन डिजिटल हेल्थ इकोसिस्टम बनाने के लिए। ये इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंडिया की 1.4 बिलियन की आबादी को केटर करेगा एंड गवर्नमेंट की कुछ हेल्थ स्कीम्स के जरिए इट विल प्रोवाइड हेल्थ कवरेज टू मोर देन 550 मिलियन सिटीजन्स। गवर्नमेंट का ई मार्केट प्लेस इसे यूज करेगा टू गेट मोर ट्रांसपेरेंट, एड मोर एफिशिएंसी एंड गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज के प्रोक्योरमेंट में इंक्लूसिविटी आएगी। The world's first robot lawyer, a product by Do Not Pay, ने $193,000 का सेटलमेंट अग्री किया है विद द फेडरल ट्रेड कमीशन। FTC के ऑपरेशन AI कंप्लाई के तहत उनका क्रैकडाउन जारी है अगेंस्ट प्रोडक्ट्स, सर्विसेज एंड कंपनीज जो AI सर्विसेज यूज करके कंज्यूमर्स को धोखा या फ्रॉड कर रही हैं। Audio giant Marshall has joined hands with Green Day frontman Billy Joe Armstrong and launched a new headphone, the Monitor 3 ANC wireless headphones. Monitor 3 क्लेम करता है 70 hours of wireless play time ANC on करके and 100 hours ANC off करके. ANC capabilities are being said to have been upgraded significantly. There is soundstage spatial audio और एक brand new adaptive loudness feature जो output sound को listener के ambience noise को measure करके adjust कर देता है. Launch prices are 29,999 rupees. Building on the experience and feedback of their Rodecaster series of podcast solutions, Rode ने एक नया Rodecaster video launch किया है. As the name suggests, ये एक audio and video production console है. Features include support for 6 simultaneous incoming Full HD video feeds, 4 via HDMI Type A, 2 via multifunction USB-C for UVC video. एक वीडियो स्विचर की तरह ही Rodecaster वीडियो में वीडियो स्विचिंग फोकस फीचर्स ही हैं. लाइक ऑटो स्विचिंग, जहां कंसोल खुद टॉकिंग हेड कैमरा पे स्विच कर देता है बेस्ड ऑन हूज टॉकिंग इन द फ्रेम, एंड इट कैन डायरेक्टली स्ट्रीम टू Twitch, YouTube and other platforms via support for Ethernet and Wi-Fi. Usage and experience can be customized via support for Rode's Rode Central application.
Now guys, for the first gadget of the week, I've got something big. I mean, really big, because what we have is this. And this is the all-new Audi RS e-tron GT Performance. This car in terms of power, okay, मैं आपको बताता हूँ, 680 kilowatts of power, 1027 Newton meters of torque, 0 to 100 I told you 2.5 seconds. The range is 592 kilometers and this car can charge up to 320 kilowatts. It means from 10 to 80% in just 18 minutes. This car has, of course, air suspension. Now this is active suspension. Watch what happens when I just open this door, okay? Look at the height rise instantly. This is in real time, by the way. This is not speed up. I'll close the door. The car will move down. Just take some time. See, it goes down. मैं एक बार अंदर जाता हूँ and we'll see what's the difference. Okay. First things first, there is more carbon camouflage right on the door sill, if you see, and in fact also on the door, if you see from the side angle. So this car is like, packed with this new material. In fact, also on the dash, अगर आप देखोगे ना, तो यहाँ पे you have the exact same treatment going on, and this car kind of speaks performance. Considering the way the steering wheel is, I mean, of course, you have all the controls right here. They are touch sensitive, but the biggest of all is this RS button, and then of course this boost option is also present. Gives you instant boost, of power for up to 10 seconds for quick overtakes and quick performance jumps. We have this screen right here to control all the basic stuff. Works like normal, of course. Android Auto, CarPlay सब चलने वाला है. The gear shift selector is quite small, just like a kind of small section right here. 360 camera, of course, we are getting. We have this big start-stop button right in the center. Key is quite familiar, like a typical Audi key. We have some cubby space right here to put in some, maybe your phone, your wallet, something. यहाँ पे we have 2 cup holders and storage space right inside with 2 USB-C ports. We got amazing bucket seats, of course, with the RS badging right here. This car feels like, yes, you can turn this car into a rocket ship, of course. Trust me when I say this, the performance is the real highlight here, because EVs in general, they have this quick pickup, काफी मजा आता है, the drive is quite fun, but sometimes psychologically you are like, क्या ये perform कर पाएगी? Well guys, let me tell you, this car goes on top of the already, really high up there, the RS variant. We had a test yesterday, where we were going, really hard on the corners, but because this has the new active suspension, the car was feeling like completely flat. Like inside, the comfort was really good. And overall, in terms of performance, in terms of 0 to 100, in terms of all the new flavors coming in, the new carbon camouflage, this interior gives you the vibe that yes, this is the performance variant that you're driving. And trust me, EVs in future, I mean, we are on the right track, I believe. 0 to 100 in just 2.5 seconds. Just push it, the car behaves instantly. Like there's zero delay in terms of the response. And the drive is fun. So ये जो experience है, trust me, I mean, I can't wait this car to come to India, जहाँ पे India में, all my friends who want that extra performance from their EVs, this would be the car to look at. The Audi RS e-tron GT performance. Well, normal की भी performance जो है वो कोई कम नहीं है, but if you really want the best, this is the one, and we'll just go very easily. Smooth overtake. Right now cruising at 160, pretty easy. Quite fun. Friends, today smartwatches are very common. मतलब वैसे I am not using a smartwatch, but देखो अलार्म तो यहाँ पे भी है. And in smartwatches या आपके मोबाइल फोन्स में basically we all use different alarms. सुबह 8 बजे अगर कहीं निकलना हो तो alarms usually start at like 6 in the morning. एक 6 बजे का, एक 6:15 का, फिर एक 6:30 का, फिर एक 7 बजे का. You know the drill. Sometimes we snooze, sometimes we don't get up, but then again we have the options of all these alarms wrapped around our wrists, yeah, maybe in our smartphones. But as did you know, the world's first alarm clock developed by Levi Hutchins, it was a mechanical alarm clock. वो केवल एक टाइम पे ही काम करती थी. जी हाँ, केवल सुबह 4 बजे. That was it. There was no option to set a specific time for the alarm. मतलब सुबह 4 बजेंगे and वो alarm बजना start कर देगा. Just imagine, आज अगर आपके पास में वो अलार्म क्लॉक हो जहां पे अगर आपको उसको यूज करना है तो एक ही ऑप्शन है सुबह 4 बजे का. हाउ डिड बी? लेट मी नो. जस्ट राइट थ्रू tg@ndtv.com. Now guys, next I have this one for you. मतलब this is the new smartphone from Motorola, the Moto Edge 50 Neo. And trust me when I say this because I seriously feel कि ये जो phone है at this price range जिसमें आता है, it kind of provides you almost everything that you might need. मतलब from a proper functional triple cam setup to this nice screen to the kind of the phone looks. Altogether, this phone really has some punch for sure. इसको एक बार हम थोड़ा सा डिटेल में डाइसेक्ट करते हैं. Let's learn more about this Moto Edge 50 Neo to understand कि आखिर इसमें Motorola ने ऐसा क्या पैक किया है all around कि मैं बोल पा रहा हूँ कि under 25,000 rupees in this budget, this phone is a champion.
अपनी इंट्रोडक्टरी प्राइसिंग में द मोटोरोला एज 50 Neo is available for 23,999 rupees and yet the specs on offer sound really good. First thing to note है इस फोन के Pantone validated color variants, Poinciana, Latte, Grisaille and Nautical Blue. इसका बिल्ड प्लास्टिक है. It supports dual SIMs, Type-C charging and data port and it offers stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support. फोन का फ्रंट एक 1.5K रेजोल्यूशन का 6.4 इंच LTPO P OLED पैनल है. This means adaptive refresh rates of up to 120 Hz, HDR peak brightness of 3000 nits and when gaming आपको 300 Hz की टच सैम्पलिंग रेट भी मिलती है. डिवाइस पे गेमिंग एक अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस है. The phone runs on a MediaTek Dimensity 7300 processor and starts with 8 GB of RAM. But true to Motorola, फोन Android 14 के एक काफी क्लीन वर्जन पर रन करता है and Motorola has skinned it lightly on top with their own UI. These intelligent Moto experiences, they include Magic Canvas, a feature that uses Moto AI to generate wallpapers from prompts, Style Sync, जहां Moto AI आपके पर्सनल स्टाइल से wallpapers and themes generate कर देता है once you click what you're wearing and many more such features. Moto AI's contribution continues in the camera department. बैक पर मेन सेंसर एक 50 मेगापिक्सल सोनी का Lightyear 700C सेंसर है and Moto AI helps with color enhancements, blending multiple exposures to get a better final result and even stabilization ताकि आपकी images and videos better लगे. The other options, there are telephoto lens that zooms in 3x and a 13 megapixel ultra wide lens. And while 4310 mAh की बैटरी शायद कम लगे in a world where every phone offers 5000 mAh, Motorola Edge 50 Neo supports and provides a a 68-watt turbo power adapter, and it also supports up to 15 watts of turbo power wireless charging.
So guys, that's it about this Moto Edge 50 Neo, and I like the fact that Motorola ने भी Pantone के साथ में collaborate करके ना हमको हमेशा बहुत सारे vibrant color options दिए हैं. वैसे my question for you इस break में आप सोच सकें वो ये है कि if you were to pick your dream color, favorite color for your smartphone, जो शायद अभी तक किसी ब्रांड ने डेवलप ही ना किया हो, what's that color? जस्ट थिंक थ्रू. मैं आपसे मिलता हूं ब्रेक के बाद, क्योंकि ब्रेक के बाद आपको बताने वाला हूं आपके फोन के लिए एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग टिप और इनफैक्ट आपके सवालों के जवाब. सी यू आफ्टर दिस शॉर्ट ब्रेक.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है. तो आज ही अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक करें फ्री में पैसाबाजार.com पर. लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है.
ठीक से एक्टिंग नहीं.
पैसाबाजार.com.
For every news from every part of the country, डाउनलोड कीजिए NDTV ऐप. सिर्फ एक ऐप जो आपको बताता है क्या हो रहा है इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ बिजनेस, पॉलिटिक्स, स्पोर्ट्स एंड एंटरटेनमेंट. देखना ना भूले हमारी मूवी युद्रा इन द थिएटर. रीड ऑल अबाउट युद्रा ऑन द NDTV ऐप. सो डाउनलोड नाउ.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है. तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है.
बस एक्टिंग करा लो इनसे.
पैसाबाजार.com. क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक, आदत अच्छी है.
Hi, I'm Kareena Kapoor Khan. When it comes to news, NDTV stands for trust, for integrity, for truth, for news that matters. Watch NDTV and don't forget to watch The Buckingham Murders अपने नजदीकी सिनेमा घरों में. कैसे मारा?
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है. आज ही जाइए पैसाबाजार.com पर और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत किसी को भी कभी भी पड़ सकती है.
चल एक्टिंग थोड़ा भेल बनो.
ए आयो भाग पैसाबाजार.com.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Election sun rises on the proverbial paradise. Jammu and Kashmir gets set to vote in assembly elections after a gap of 10 years.
For the BJP, it's a referendum on Article 370. For the Congress and regional parties, it's a battle for survival. An election that will go down in the history. Watch the most comprehensive, the most nuanced, and the most power-packed coverage only on NDTV.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of maximum cities infect.
हेलो गाइस, वेलकम बैक आफ्टर द ब्रेक। मेरा नाम है गौरव, यू आर वाचिंग गैजेट्स 360 विद टेक्निकल गुरुजी। एंड बेसिकली ये जो शो है ना, यहाँ पे हम गैजेट्स की दुनिया के बारे में बहुत कुछ नया जान लेते हैं। मैं आपको नई टिप्स भी दे देता हूँ, एट द सेम टाइम आपको आपके सवालों के जवाब भी मिल जाते हैं। और सवाल जो है सबसे बड़ा आज का वो ये है कि व्हाट्सएप को आप बेस्ट यूज कैसे कर सकते हैं। यू नो, दिस इज दैट वन ऐप जिसको शायद हम सभी यूज करते हैं, घर में बच्चे हो या बूढ़े, व्हाट्सएप सभी के फोन में आपको मिल जाएगा। गाइस, द फैक्ट इज कि व्हाट्सएप पे हमको कई बार बहुत सारे नए नए ऑप्शंस मिलते रहते हैं, बट इट्स सो डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू स्टे अपडेटेड। वेल, उसके लिए मैं हूं जो आपको मैं टिप दे देता हूं, जहां पे गाइस टुडेज टिप इज ऑल अबाउट क्रिएशन यूजिंग मेटा एआई। आपको अगर नहीं पता है तो लेट मी टेल यू, व्हाट्सएप में मेटा एआई आ चुका है। आपको बस व्हाट्सएप को अपडेट करना है, यू वुड डेफिनेटली सी एन ऑप्शन ऑफ मेटा एआई। बट लेट मी टेल यू वेयर इट्स फन, बिकॉज समटाइम्स हमको किसी को कुछ मैसेज भेजना है ना, दिमाग में एक इमेज चल रही है कि ऐसा कुछ उसको बना के भेजें या कुछ फन गिफ्ट बनाएं। Well, now it's very easy. If you open any chat, go to that pin icon जहाँ से आप documents वगैरह attach करते हैं, वहाँ पे you will see an option of imagine. Just click there, enter your prompt, and आपके सामने एक फोटो तुरंत बन के आ जाएगा। And then in the next step, if you want, you can even animate that picture to be used as a GIF और GIF, जो भी आप बोलना चाहें। ये काम अभी आप कर सकते हैं WhatsApp पे using Meta AI। फ्रेंड्स, इट्स टाइम फॉर दिस सेक्शन जो कि मेरा पर्सनल फेवरेट है। मतलब इसको ना मैंने शो के एंड में इसीलिए प्लान करके प्लेस कराया, बिकॉज सी डिजर्ट शुड बी एट द एंड। और बेसिकली जैसे जैसे हम शो के एंड में जाते हैं ना, दिस ऑलवेज ब्रिंग्स इन एक्साइटमेंट, बिकॉज इट्स आस्क टीजी, जहां पे मैं आपके सवालों के जवाब देता हूं इन ईच एपिसोड, आंसरिंग ऑल योर क्वेरीज अराउंड गैजेट्स। लेट्स सी इस बार हमारे पास में कौन से क्वेश्चंस हैं।
Hi DG, I want to buy a smartphone under 50,000 rupees with Qualcomm Snapdragon and 16 to 24 GB RAM. Please suggest. Thank you.
Okay. So the first thing I would want to ask you a counter question. Why 16 to 24 GB RAM? What do you plan to do with your phone? यार मतलब ऐसा क्या करना है फोन में कि इतनी ज्यादा RAM चाहिए? I believe you'd want a good experience, but उसके लिए अकेले रैम से कुछ नहीं होगा। बट चलो, then again, I'll just answer your question in this case कि आप जो है वो एक ही फ़ोन चूज़ कर पाएंगे जहाँ पे आपको 16 GB की रैम मिलेगी विद Qualcomm Snapdragon प्रोसेसर। और जो फ़ोन की मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ, इट इज़ द OnePlus 12R। OnePlus 12R में you will get a 16 GB RAM variant with a Qualcomm processor under rupees 50,000. So yeah, this is the phone for you then, अगर आपको RAM 16 GB की चाहिए।
Hi sir, I have old laptops and mobile phones. Can I sell them at good prices? And if yes, where can I sell them? And if not, what should I do with them?
It depends the kind of laptops and phones that you have. अगर वो बहुत ही कुछ unique models हैं, you know, something very iconic, तो definitely you might get a good value out of those. Otherwise, तो you know, if they are just old laptops with just like average specs or like, you know, just generic models, तो उस केस में I don't think कि ज़्यादा उनकी value आपको मिलने वाली है। You can